turning on the recording. Again, hello everyone, and today we have a discussion.
Can I ask you just to wait some seconds because we are missing, I mean, the most important guest, I would say.
Of course, no problem, no problem.
But I think he's coming. I met him today and we talked about this meeting, so he
Yeah.
knows about it. Are you in Trento right now?
I am in Trieste.
Yeah, Trieste, sorry.
Yeah, I'm in Trieste. So there is an empty conference hall after the some committee of Elettra, so I used this.
I see.
And also before the our last and most important person will come, I would again to appreciate and to say thanks to Sergio for his trust and as we have done on the conference with his work. Now, just let's say to let you read a bit about what we are planning for, and for what I am working now on about the tests, because nothing changed since 2 months ago. Arcangelo, do you want us to wait a bit more, or can you tell us some, let's say, opinions about what we are doing?
Yes, I read your paper about decentralized PIDs, and I think that your work tries to solve a problem that is, I would say, felt in the community. That is the problem of DOIs, which is basically a business model, and we are all relying on a single point of failure. We, as Open Citations, produce PIDs. They are called omids. We use them to identify resources. Well, we use them to identify all kinds of bibliographic resources, but especially with resources that don't have other PIDs, such as
Yeah.
DOIs, PubMed IDs, OpenAlex IDs, etc. And I saw your project like as a how can I say, an I don't know how to say assicurazione in English.
And insurance.
Yeah, like an insurance for life on Open Citations, and also an opportunity for collaboration with other institutions, if I understood it correctly, because if every institution like gives a node to this decentralized infrastructure, we both have an insurance for life on Open Citations in the case we as Open Citations team won't exist anymore, and an opportunity for collaboration with our donors, which are mainly institutions and libraries.
Well, you are
And
right. Yeah, you are right. And Sergio, can you hear us? May you say anything more, because you did said a lot of things before about this aspect.
Yeah. I can hear, but I'm busy with the call. I will unmute in a second.
Okay. Of course, no problem. So yes, I could confirm, and also we actually were striving at the very beginning when we were starting the project, striving to solve also the problem of blockchain because it's quite at first business oriented, it's quite heavyweight, and it's becoming heavyweight, and it's very difficult to maintain.
Yep. Now I can speak.
Yeah, of course. So could you please confirm what Arcangelo said about which problem we are striving to solve?
Yeah, and especially from my perspective was the Latin America, no? Mm, we have a big diamond open access ecosystem, but without the persistent identifier to guarantee this, these fair principles. So what we try to we want to replicate the model that is already successful in the publishing ecosystem. This is to explain where you give the community a tool that they can appropriate, and with a user interface that will intuitively help publishers minting persistent identifiers. For example, with OGS, it's a successful case for us where the tool was given to the community appropriated, and it helps all the publishing universities are doing the same with you could say with the library managing systems like COA or PMB tools, open source tools that people can appropriate and replicate. And we don't understand, and when we do understand, we see behind the hegemonic of DOI, the big publishers are there, and it's just the business appropriation of open access, and there's a lot of goodwill from the side of the researchers, but I see it that they are being exploited by this tool because it's just a business.
Yes.
It's just a business. And we see it everywhere. And of course, they try to be like the ship flag of open access, and they're not. Cubans cannot mean DOI because also it's not only a single point of failure in regards to the infrastructure, but also to the politics. It's a sign of the executive order from Donald Trump. Some country can be left out, fall out of the DOI system because they are bound to it.
Yeah, and
So this is what we would try to solve because the open access movement is so strong, but this point of failure is so evident, and because interest and I don't know, not everybody can, because grants depend on this, and not everybody is so freely speaking this. So because I'm not expecting to get a grant or a scholarship, then I speak it out loud.
yeah, and also we have a pretty good use case of DOIs here at Electra because it's actually prepaid. So what's the deal when you are prepaying some identifiers that should be associated with some links, and that's really all. Despite it is a federated database, despite it is could be a federated resolver or the project like UniResolver, then at first it should be affordable, and next it should be, let's say, sovereign. Because once Sergio said, if someone wants to stop the resolution of the DOI minted by Electra, let's say so-called minted by Electra, it could be done.
So what I find interesting is okay, there are some solutions there. Arc is a good solution because it's decentralized. The governance is a bit centralized, but once you have the
Sorry, can you
registry,
repeat? You said ARC.
ARC, yeah. You know, this ARC is from the Digital Library of California, California Digital Library. They have the possibility that once you register, you get a NaN, and then after that you can mint your own persistent identifier. But this persistent identifier doesn't have the layer of metadata and description. This is something we could resolve with the with our solution. So yeah, our solution can be used with any persistent identifier you register link with the realm.
Yeah.
But it could work as a meta resolver as well. And there are examples of meta resolvers that are already working with different persistent identifiers. So the idea is not to wage war against DOI, but to establish an ecosystem where every persistent identifier could work in a context of open science and open access.
Yeah, and also to make doing that in the manner that it is done in the project like Radical. So it's Git-like and client-side reproducible, as it is shown also on the slides I have prepared. It's like, let's say, Git repository. Everything is tracked and versioned, because actually it was from the very beginning. I am pretty on this position that it should be done like that, because I developed a very simple tool that uploads to the IPFS network exactly the Git repository. So it's a frozen in time, immutable hashed state of the repository, which could be somehow associated with the DHT-based private key. This is what actually what I'm striving now to do the tests for. And once I would have a time,
Yeah,
immediately.
regarding this, can you give me an idea of the state of the development?
Yeah, from my side, I started test drive and development, but I have only written 3 tests. It's on Google Drive, and once I would like to run the first node of a DHT to publish the first test private key, and then we could do a proof of concept. Then it would be done in a repository on GitLab.
Okay.
This is a roadmap. For now, it's, let's say, a draft spec, a bunch of very well and thoughtful ideas, and it's just waiting for the implementation. Just due to actually only I now doing the programming.
Okay. And since we are talking while we wait for Silvio, I mean, I explained to you what is the value from my perspective regarding a possible collaboration, but I would also like to understand what is the value for you regarding a collaboration with Open Citations.
Okay. Could you please Silvio will explain the valuability for you, or can you do?
No. I explained it before
Yeah.
at the
Then
beginning, but I was asking you what will be the value for you for this project.
For us, is what we value is we want to make the biggest the community possible
Of course.
in order to make this tool work.
Yeah, I mean, I think that one of the
we know that we have some ideas clear, but we know that our draft are in an initial stage, and everybody's welcome to collaborate and to improve and if we have already experience running open citations, it has automatic discoverability, or do you have a protocol to harvest new citations? Some tools you are doing already or not?
We harvest citations from Crossref, so DOIs, from PubMed, so PubMed IDs, from Japanese that they use DOIs because they copy Crossref.
So it's like OpenAlex as well.
It's like
You
yes,
need
we harvest.
you need DOI for it to work.
Well, up to now, yes, but we are working in this at this very moment on introducing citations without DOIs, because we produce our own persistent identifier.
I understand. But
Yes,
it's a centralized one. It's the one you assign to each citation, so you can
exactly.
track it.
It's a centralized one.
And
And sorry,
sorry,
when as I remember from the conference, you told that you have used the database to store the data, right?
Right.
and Arc, you have not been harvesting with Arc.
No, I was looking into it right now. I didn't know it, honestly. This specific identity, the archival resource key.
Yes. Maybe because the layer of metadata is not so much related to the Arc. It will just it's like more.
Maybe it's not used for citations. I don't know.
Well, they are not being used. The French National Library, they use it for every registry.
Okay.
It could be perfectly be used for citation. Even UNESCO, in the digital library, they assign ARC, but they don't use it to cite it. And I suspect there are some ill interest not to use it. Because they could perfectly, if you see any UNESCO digital document, the ones who publish in the digital library, they have an ARC URL. I mean, they have the identifier in the URL. So I don't know exactly why it's not being used for citation, but for sure it's being used to secure the persistency of a digital object.
Yeah, and just could you please a bit explain us a bit about what's the redundancy mechanism of ARC, if you remember, because we don't have John here.
They well, they have the registry where you have this schema where you register and you have the shoulder of the key, and then after that you establish how you will be what will be the structure of every arc you mint. So it could be resolved with the N2T, or you can also use your own resolver.
Okay.
Quite open for that.
Yeah, yeah. So then
what I expect, and that's something that will be interesting to collectively achieve, is something like a Fediverse of persistent identifiers. Maybe in that way, the collaboration with Open Citation could work. If we could have like the activity path protocol where something is being cited that is registered, you have the notification.
Yeah, something like that. Because actually I have no examples of this kind of behavior implemented using decentralized technologies. Because Fediverse is Fediverse, but here it is required to have something else. At least for now, I cannot name any example. Let's say, in my opinion, the DHT distributed hash table over the existing implementation may solve the problem.
So, and Arcangelo, how big is your database right now?
So we are talking about billion of triples, 2.2 billion citations, and 150 million bibliographic resources. We have two databases, one for metadata that is 300 gigabytes Virtuoso database, and the other one for citations is more than a terabyte for citation. And then we have a third database for the provenance, which is also more than a terabyte. So,
And do you have like a relation, geolocation of more or less you could say the how much African, South America, Latin America is represented in that database?
maybe Mario can say more about this, but we are right now we are getting that information from the logs, I think. No, so you're talking about the citations themselves, not
Yeah.
about the usage. No, I don't think that
We have done sorry, I'm just late, sorry to just
No
jumping,
problem.
but we have done an analysis like that a few years ago, honestly, based by the publishers, if I remember correctly, in order to see what is the provenance of the publisher, and using the publishers of the various articles there to try to derive a map of coverage from an institutional point of view. But it was based on the publishing side, not on the author affiliation side. That is an information that we do not have. So it was more about information where the specific publication has been published than who wrote the specific publication.
And did you use ISSN for that, for the journals, or what kind of format?
We did use also, we do have information about the publisher in our database in general, but yes, ideally for the journals we do have the ISSN, so we could use that information for tracking that specific geolocalization of the publication, let's say.
And do you know how many from Latin America? I mean, roughly a percentage. If in this, if you have an asymmetry, you perceive you have an asymmetry north to south, or is quite equal?
So
would you say?
For what concerns Latin American, I don't have data in front of me right now. We have tried to do some experiments with some colleagues from Brazil a few years ago, and we have also published a paper about it, but I don't recall the data. So I'm literally, I'm driving right now, so I cannot access my computer to get it. But I can find out the paper and send it to you if you're interested. And there were partially, of course, this kind of analysis that was more on the Brazilian side than the full Latin American side. But
and if I say that the main problem for if it's well, I will assume that the representation of Latin America is not so much.
I think so as well.
And I will assume as well that the main problem is the lack of persistent identifiers.
I believe so. Also because Latin American is very strong, in my opinion, with the Cielo platform, for instance, and something that does actually quite the opposite, as far as I remember.
I got the half of it, but yeah, we have some. Cielo is quite big, especially for Brazil.
Yeah.
We have La Referencia as well.
Yes,
We have
of
from the
course.
Mexican side Redalic, and Latindex in a more overall the like initial stage of the easiest directory, no? The first directory where we can get access is Latindex, then Cielo or Redalic are the ones. Then with the institutional repositories, we have La Referencia. But we do not have persistent identifiers except the handle maybe, but it's hard to, I don't,
Yes,
you're not,
that
you're,
was exactly what I was saying before my communication was broken. That we have worked with the Brazilian people and mainly by means of the Cielo platform, but the problem was that there were no DOI mainly there. So and that was a problem that in principle we can host anyway because as maybe the people the guys have said to you, we don't need DOI for hosting bibliographic description and citations in open citations. But still, uh, right now, the fact that Latin America is less represented in these kind of databases, I think it is mainly exactly because of that.
yeah, that's what we are trying to solve somehow.
Yeah, and this is let's say more the policy point of view, and here is how we're striving to do, because it's just repeat for Silvio, how it's we are trying to solve it technically. So we would try to propose the concept of realm, which is actually a repository, the Git-like, containing the metadata, including the so-called DHT key, which is distributed hash table. So it's like, let's say, it's a hash based, so it's reproducible everything on the client side, and the list of the providers, because every provider is an agent, software agent that holds a private key. But the thing is, within the DHT, as it is done in a BitTorrent network, the every provider being, let's say, recognized in the network should stay recognized still. So once the agent is connected, he should receive the message and sign the recognition and approval notification that will be sent to DHT. And then it somehow stores this data in the DHT. The DHT is the structure which has limited time to live for data. So the data should be on the regular basis. They should be renewed. This is why we are striving to implement the basic integrity checks. And here are the, let's say, very draft spec of how it could be implemented. For example, what the realm is, it's like a prefix on the DOI. So we can have a realm called DOI and make under it the meta resolver for some very limited metadata, including the URIs or something like that, made out of the openly accessible DOI. So this is, let's say, the main idea. Also, here are the backend endpoints list, which strives to provide at the very beginning for every agent connecting to a DHT the list of exact resolvers. So having the PID, you should have a list of resolvers that can provide it directly, and you should be able to connect to these resolvers like it is done in the networks like IPFS. So directly, peer-to-peer, without anything between you and the resolving point. Yeah, this is let's say the first thing, and also the realms could be linked to each other. So the owner of the main private key of of a given realm may serve the PIDs of any other realm as a gateway, as there is a like in any caching peering network. Once you are downloaded it, you are caching it, and you are providing it for anyone else about the metadata. And to organize this, to use a Git-like repository. So backward immutable incremental repository. This is let's say the main idea. The table of realms is it's actually I developed this part of a spec by my own after the investigation of edge parts of a DHT. As a DHT, there is a proposal to use the Open DHT implementation developed by Savior-Fair Linux. It's open source, it's cross-platform. I'm quite experienced at working with it, and it's let's say somehow demonstrated the responsibility, and it can store multi-hashes, it can store the list of endpoints and arbitrary encrypted binary data. So we can use the edges of the DHT address space to store the table of realms. And this table of realms should be always actual when at least one participant is alive in the whole network. So again, it borrows somehow the model of a BitTorrent network. Yeah, here is the second key point. And the third key point is a provider. Provider is actually the agentic entity that publishes and mints the PID. Every PID in this concept could be hash-based, and it should be reproducible on the client side. So once you downloaded the metadata, you recalculate the PID and do actually something like a Git pull on this PID. And it is intended to store the data in the data structure that is used by Git. I will show you. Now I will close the presentation and open the concepts and definitions, which is a version 2. So just a sec. So here it is. Can you see it?
Yes.
So this is how the data are stored actually in Git. Here's an example with SHA1, but obviously it should be the different hash function like SHA 512. This is how the tables and trees should be stored. The implementation we don't have until now because obviously I just didn't have time since April to develop more or less full scale test. Yeah, so yeah, this is what at least I am working on, and the set of ideas on which we are striving to implement, and the set of problems which we are striving to solve.
Just a question.
Yeah.
If I understood it correctly,
Yeah.
These decentralized PIDs, at least some of them, are like on top of existing PIDs. So, okay.
Yes, because we can easily register a realm that could be resolved to the other kind on the flavor of PID.
Okay.
It should be just declared as linked.
Okay. And so the providers are necessarily like the ones producing those PIDs in the first place, or also someone else?
If you have to produce this flavor of PID, you should have a private key. You can link it to something, but at first it should be resolved using your realm because every provider has his own realm.
Yes.
Yeah, initially, we are thinking to link it with the Arc
Okay.
Yeah,
Good.
but
because Arc is decentralized by nature.
yeah,
I mean,
Okay.
and
once you have the registry in Arc, you can mint your own PID.
yes, yeah, but let's say the nature of DHT and actually the backend is IPFS. It's planned to be IPFS. This backend allows you, if you have a private key, then you can register as a hash point on this private key. For example, realm, the realm by Arc.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, but you should be recognized by the holder of the original private key, which could be an Arc governance team, for example.
Okay. Silvio, did you know Arc? Because I didn't, with DK.
No, I haven't. I've heard of it, but have never explored how it works, honestly.
Okay.
Well, actually, the Arc solution is interesting because it's decentralized. So, and for example, Brazilian Institute of Science are trying to develop. They are in a quite advanced stage. Is dark decentralized Arc. It's like of a redundancy because this already decentralized. But what they added to a set of Arc registries, these non-registries that they added the possibility to connect with blockchain network to in order to mint the last part of the keys. So and they can add layers of in that I understood that the project includes adding more metadata to the registries.
Yeah, it should be. I explored a bit the documentation, and the open documentation mentions that there should be a bit more rich metadata, at least in the terms of resolving.
Yeah, but they advanced so far that they were being forced, and at some point maybe we should also we will be also forced to in order to keep growing. They were forced to declare in the project website that this is not a replacement for DOIs. We are not competing with DOIs. DOIs are good. This is what happened if you see the dark project webpage.
Yeah, yeah, and also because
I mean, that's the
here,
price you have to pay for financing, you know, otherwise you lost financing.
yeah, and also due to the last lawsuits issued in the European Union, for example, the IPFS technology and the base technology were declared as, let's say, the instrument of piracy,
Hmm.
as I told it on the CSV conference. So yeah, yeah, Sergio's completely right about the price we should pay for financing and funding.
I see. I'm reading again the slides to understand better what would be the workflow for us. So we, let's say, produce a persistent identifier, which is the OMID, and so we are a provider.
Yeah. Exactly.
joining the realm. So the realm is the collection of all providers, like all the yeah, it's a list of providers.
Yes, it's a list of the providers,
Okay.
and yeah, every provider could hold a state.
Mhm.
Yeah, then
And we need to be like accepted and recognized by the chain, the
by
other peers.
anyone else, anyone at least, but actually by anyone else.
Okay, at least one.
Well, at the very beginning, yes.
Okay,
The more accepted states you have, then the better.
I see.
Yeah,
And
and also you have a recognizers list, so you can explicitly determine on which side, on which belonging you should be recognized.
okay. And in this peer-to-peer system, we attach to the decentralized PID like some metadata that in our
Uh,
case would be mm, like metadata about the citation or the bibliographic resource or
it could be
pointer.
like in every hash-based system, it should be somehow an invariant. So they are
Mm,
part of a metadata that are immutable for a given record.
I see. So
Yeah.
theoretically, we could distribute our whole data in the system,
Yes.
having an automatic change tracking system, because when metadata change for an object, the system automatically tracks this change.
Yes, because every realm is a Git repository, and also the every record is a Git repository, and every record is intended to be a real Git repository.
Okay.
So it
And
allows
every
Because
node.
versioning.
Mm.
It allows versioning.
yeah,
And does every node need to have the whole data, like a full copy of, or there are partial redundancy systems?
when you are maintaining the realm, every node that maintains the realm should have a copy of a full metadata.
Okay,
About the real data, once you are resolving the record, it's like a Git clone. So you are pulling the data and starting providing them for everyone else.
okay. And do you think that,
The point for us is a bit tricky, I will say, because
okay,
um, you separate technically the concept of metadata of an object with the concept of the object per se that is behind this um, persistent identifier. So that is
Ah,
identified by the
yeah,
persistent
then,
identifier. But
but
our
it's, but
actual status is that
yeah,
there is no object in our data. We are just providing metadata about that object.
it's a perfect start point for us because as the record is a Git repository, it could be at any time, at any point, it could be just extended with a real object. It doesn't make sense.
So the point is that our real object is the metadata.
Then it could be just stored as an element of a repository, and that's all. I will because the let's say at least that's in my opinion. I will show you on GitHub. The repository that I have developed for Electra. Sorry, just a sec.
mhm.
Okay, the file, sharing the screen again. Here we are. Okay, this is one. This is a tool which is, let's say, from the very beginning, it was intended to be as an underlying technology. So it's like Git IPFS remote bridge. It uploads any kind of data to the IPFS and gives to it the hash. So it could be
Okay.
used and somehow associated with the realm. It doesn't matter which data or metadata are stored. If it is a bit stream, it could be stored.
I didn't know this IPFS system before. I don't understand how is this maintained. So because this is I mean, it's a working system.
Yes, it's a working system. It is their official website. I participated in the several calls with the leading developers. So it's quite very well maintained, and it's used by open science initiatives like Open Climate.
Okay. I also see the Wikipedia logo. I don't know if
Partially they may use, but I don't know anything about this use case. The only thing that I really may rely
okay.
on
It
is
says when the government of Turkey blocked access to Wikipedia, a copy of the site was posted on IPFS, restoring visibility to millions of people.
yeah, yeah. So this is how actually it is built. It's totally open source. It's proven for the reliability, and also it's this one. It's very verifiable.
Mhm.
It has some problems with addressing. It has some problems with the hashing, but in general, it seems to be good as underlying technology. Somehow it also has a compatibility with some flavors of blockchain, but after the very long discussion and then separating ways from the Scilabs, it was made a decision about dropping away at least the ceramic blockchain that they use.
Okay. Ceramic is a distributed database, right?
Yes, it's a distributed database and the ledger, but the problem is I tried several times to deploy it, and it shows it seems like very difficult for being deployed on the single endpoint.
And it has
Okay.
a lot of cryptocurrency flavor.
Because it is a cryptocurrency. It's actually it was initially built on the top of Ethereum. So once we have tried the project with identifying the artworks, we have the first problem which actually ruined our work was that we have lost the gas as it was
Ah,
completely within the Ethereum network.
so you had to
So
pay.
exactly, and this gas was once implemented somehow by this Scilabs, but the method they how they did implement this implementation is still not seems not to be transparent for me. I tried to
Yes.
investigate, but it's still not transparent. So about the blockchain technologies, we have a lot of doubts since then.
Okay. But I mean, in your paper, you introduce both IPFS and ceramic, but I don't understand if one is an alternative to the other or they are
No,
complementary.
no, it's not an alternative. The IPFS is used as a storage layer
Uh,
in the concept that was written in the paper. It was used as a storage layer, whether the ceramic was used as a ledgering layer.
Mm.
For now, it's completely out of ceramic, and our second version of a spec intends to use DHT with the dynamically
Okay.
updated data as a ledgering solution, less ledgering and messaging solution.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's yeah, I left this slide on the screen just because it demonstrates that the basic concept that the provider manages persistent publishing on the DHT.
Mhm. Now I'm talking with Silvio, and because I'm reflecting on this, and up to now, I see a way of distributing the data, like the whole data. Um, but I don't see a way then of querying them. So even after having distributed the data, you still need a centralized database in order to query them efficiently, because otherwise, um,
No, because once you are claiming the DHT
mhm,
and you have this section at hash tree, then you are querying the realm,
mhm.
and from this realm, you are just requesting a hash.
Okay, but how do you keep the semantic connection between data if they are? I mean, I imagine every bibliographic resource, every citation with
I
its
think
own.
Arcangelo is
Okay.
simply you don't have that layer because you are focusing on the content in the end. Okay, because
Yes, it's
you are doing the
because
query on the content of our items, and this specific layer here that has been presented doesn't talk about the content, but rather a way to identify it. So you can distribute the content in different nodes if you want, but querying it is another matter.
actually you should somehow build a hash, and using this hash, you immediately retrieve the content.
Yeah. You retrieve a single, let's say, resource identified with that decentralized PID.
A single repository, the latest state of a single Git repository that contains metadata or any other content.
Yeah. But the point is that the query that Arcangelo has in mind combines basically to access in principle a plethora of different resources. So it's more close to an SQL query where you are
Mm.
accessing in principle to different resources to combine them all together for having the final results. And according to what I understood, that is not possible. That's why I was talking about the content. So it's not just the content of a single resource, but is to be aware of the content of all the resources distributed across this network and to query the network. That's the idea.
Yeah, that's now I understood. It seems to be the, let's say, the different task.
Mhm.
So
I
once you
agree.
are,
I agree. It's a different thing.
yeah, different tasks. So it should be somehow like a vector database. It could be decentralized, but let's say the different aspect of servicing in this
Mhm.
context.
So
Because
to me,
here,
to me, this approach is functional for the thing of the distributed persistent identifier things, first of all, and second, to have technically a distributed copy of the content of our metadata in principle, distributed across the network in principle, but that
yeah,
relates only to this specificity. So the fact that you have distributed copies. So for any missing, you can trust the network even to retrieve them, even if they are not coming from the original source in a way. But there is no way for running, let's say, a more structured query across the network of these copies, just because it's a different task, a different layer in a way. It should be a distributed database that offer a distributed query mechanism for doing that.
But
And
what
this is,
yeah, can you give us the example of the query you want to process?
Yeah, but just to clarify also, but because what we envision is not an end product and like a closed box, but something that can be built upon. So you could use the network, download the information, and establish a point of querying, like a service.
yeah, I agree. The point is exactly that.
Yeah,
The point is that the query mechanism should be provided as an additional server
Yeah,
on the application layer upon the network that
yeah.
is created.
The
Yes, I got
idea
it.
is
exactly.
that you could build applications and also applications that could connect with other solutions like OGS or different repositories to use to write in the network as well. So this is an initial idea that, but it's not a closed product. We want to we imagine something that could help, like Fediverse. The idea of the inspiration is the Fediverse for social network. You know, Silvio?
Yes, yes. Yeah, clear.
Yeah.
Did you mentioned OJS? Can you tell me more about if you have a collaboration with them? Because they don't use they don't use DOIs, you said, right?
I mean, it actually depends. I mean, OJS is a platform for handling journal articles and so journals in general, and the specific editor of a specific journal may use a DOI for identifying their own articles. I mean, just to make an example, Umanistica Digitale, which is a journal that we do handle within the OJS installation of our university, do use DOI for referring to their own uh, information, and they used, if as far as I remember, DataSite once, and now maybe Crossref as DOI
Yeah.
for minting
They
DOIs.
they use
So
both, and they have quite a strategic marriage relation. I don't
yes,
know.
of course, they collaborate a lot with each other. I
Yeah.
agree. Yes,
So
yes.
that's why they don't leave open the field for persistent identifier. You have that you have persistent identifier for authors with ORCID and for DOIs. They very smoothly running with the OGS. You could develop, it's open the source, so you could develop a solution with an open source or a different persistent identifier, but they are not actually how to say updating together like they are doing with the Crossref. The solution will be to convince them to leave a field open for the persistent identifier, but they are not doing it.
I think that they are not doing it for one simple reason, honestly. That is currently, according to their infrastructure, is unmanageable. So they won't be able to do it currently. In addition to that, for sure, the DOI for them is their business model. So there is also this aspect that is important, okay? But I mean, since I know them, I can only imagine that introducing the possibility of liberating the use of persistent identifiers in all the specific entities that they may describe there would be a huge change in their current way of handling the infrastructure, which is not straightforward to implement, I will say. This is my feeling. I don't have any specific view on that, but in principle, I think these two things, that The business model that is based on DOI, that is clear. I mean, they didn't hide it. It's pretty
Yeah.
much well known. And the fact that even if there is the technical possibility of adding any kind of fossil or persistent identifier to specify within the metadata, that would make, in principle, things that must be changed at the infrastructure level to host that specific information in a way and to make it useful also. So I think these two things are the main blocking points that prevent them of doing it. This is my feeling, at least, but I didn't discuss with them about it, I have to say.
You're
Knowing,
muted.
as a user, knowing the structure of the OGS, you could you have the custom URL construction when you publish. You can assign a specific URL to your paper when you're publishing it, or in OMP also to your book. So in that field, you could put a persistent identifier. Then then you have to program how to recover it and list it on the network.
I see.
Yeah.
This is like some way you could. They don't have it as a field, open field. I understand because they have this relation, but there are some ways that they could be apply. The important thing is to build the network for now and to try to solve this. For us in Latin America, the lack of persistent identifier because we don't have the means to pay it, and especially that if we are able to build the network, then we can see how to work together with different solutions and to build things on top of the network like other services.
Yeah, I see. So in practice, I mean, DOI is probably right now the major persistent identifier scheme used across the world, but comes with a cost. And while initially it has been thought for mainly traditional publications, now it's used for any research object you can think of. And that is a problem because there is also proliferation of DOI. There is also the risk actually that keep the DOI alive is not easy. There are a lot of DOI that doesn't point to anything that is, I mean, there is a problem of persistency technically of that identifier, which is an issue since it is a persistent identifier in the first end.
Yeah.
And so
Mentioning. Yeah.
We found in my research, what I found is the original mail to the Internet Task Force, where they are saying about the project of the DOI, and the main thing was to maintain copyright. It was not an open solution, was never an open solution. And also Leslie Chan, the Canadian researcher, he also found out, it was even stated by the same Crossref organization in their anniversary, that they rushed to create DOI because the NHS, the doctors who gave the printing version to the publishers, they wanted to publish openly the digital version of the work, and then rushed to create the DOI because they didn't want to have open access. So
Exactly.
it's I know this has become politics, you know, and of course it's hard to avoid politics in
Well,
human.
the most important thing for us is that it's actually programmed the routing links,
Yeah,
from which actually the idea we have was starting.
and the other thing is that it's not sustainable because now by the, like I was telling before to Arcangelo, with a single executive order from Donald Trump, you can wipe a whole country from the DOI services because they are bound by the commercial regulations of the United States. Like Cuba cannot have a DOI.
Yeah,
And that's a problem that we should, rationality is not on power anymore. So this is
exactly.
a sustainable problem.
And there is also another problem because when the organization stopped buying DOI, then they would decide to stop maintaining the links underlying over the DOI.
I think they have a contract that for the past they have to maintain for some period, but you cannot, you can mint new, but they will not resolve.
Yes, yes,
As we
exactly.
are seeing this in Argentinian universities because we're quite in a crisis right now, especially regarding with the dollar and local currency parity, and that restriction and the budget of public universities is making like we are minting DOIs through the APs, but they are not resolving.
Yeah, just because the central database require you to, let's say, did the token paid.
And for us also it's too centralized, too big, and hence in the same it's bound to failure.
Yeah, in the paper you also talk about the problem of scalability. Right now we have 100 billion DOIs more or less, but in 5 years we will have too much to be maintained by a single.
But that
Yeah.
is for
Exactly.
that is for sure. I mean, is that the problem of the business model I said before. When you run an
Yeah,
infrastructure that provides DOI and you base your sustenance by selling them, the more you go in the development year by year, the more are the costs to maintain infrastructure and doing new things. And so you need to have more money. And for this infrastructure, having more money, in principle, means to mint more DOI, more and more and more. So we'll have DOI for everything, technically speaking.
yeah,
And that's
the trap of constant growth.
exactly in the long term would be problematic for sure for maintainability, sustainability, I mean, of the system. There are too many DOI to maintain and to be sure that they works correctly. But this is a problem that is, I think, well known by anyone there. The problem is that there is no real, let's say, distributed alternative to that. That's why we were interested in the solutions that you were proposing here, because it would be not I do not think that this specific idea will replace DOI systems, and in particular it doesn't replace it in the short or medium term, but it offers an alternative. That is the main point, and that is
Exactly.
the selling point, I think, of the whole thing. We are not there to replace DOI. You want to use DOI, use it. Who cares? I mean, they are there. You can do that. But in case you cannot afford that, there is an alternative that is more distributed, that is applies with open principles, and that works. And you choose. That's it. I mean, I don't force to use one or the other, but you have at least another option. And I think it is good. I mean, there is nothing wrong in it. That's the main point.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
also that our approach not to, but it doesn't mean we don't want to replace DI, but it doesn't mean we cannot criticize DI.
I
Yes,
mean, but
at least for promoting.
DOI have, but I think that, I mean, the point, my point is that could be counterproductive for this new distributed system to use the narrative, how bad are DOIs for promote yourself. That is the point, okay? DOI have intrinsic problems. Also because the ID is not, let's say, is not intrinsic. So
Yes.
there are problems there, okay, that are well recognized. I mean, one of the things that the guys from Software Heritage have done with this software identifier, which is now a standard ISO, was exactly that. I
Yeah.
mean, they identify the DOI is not good for identifying software because our software is a living thing. That if I change something, I have a new thing that should have a new identifier, and DOI doesn't apply to that. We need to mint DOIs every single modification in a way, no. And the problem is also that there is no relation, so you don't have the ID that can be used for practically checking if the content is correct against the ID itself. So there are pros. So there is no hash mechanism to relate somehow the ID with the content, the ID described. And so they created uh, this persistent identifier for software, technically, that works exactly for that specific thing that is the software and works very well. They don't
Yes.
say the DOI, you should not use the DOI for software. They are saying there is software IDs that can be used even in conjunction with DOI. So you are not using it replacing the other. You can use both, no problem at all. And I think you should try to expose this narrative in order to provide the benefits of your identifier, but not compared with others. I mean, what is the added value that this new identifier brings in? Okay. And then the
Yes.
people will do the narrative of, okay, that is something that the UI doesn't offer. Okay. And it's a new thing that they are offering. So why not to adopt also the DOI? Because the point here, the winning point is not to say use us instead of the DOI. The final goal, in order to have it, let's say, reused and distributed as much as possible by the community, is also to adopt, in addition to the DOI that you may have already paid and so on, to adopt also this distributed identifier system. So to have two identifiers, the DOI that you have already paid, because this is exactly how it works, but also this new thing. That means that if the DOI system tomorrow breaks for several reasons, okay, some of those have already introduced you, Sergio, related to the political situation, okay, in US in particular. If that works, the other alternative still works.
Yeah.
So it's a recovery system in a way.
Yeah.
And I think should be sell, I mean, not sell in the concrete way. I mean, sell when you do the narration about why we need this new system in that way as a complementary system that doesn't affect the current DOI system. So it doesn't mean that you should stop using DOI for your resources, but you have a new thing that offers that, and that DOI doesn't offer, or DOI
Yeah.
or other centralized PID system. So it's a more general thing, I will say, because also ORCID has the same problem.
Yes. And
Yes,
also
exactly.
the ORCID, they have well, they are all very bind together, DOIs and ORCID as well. But besides that, our roadmap is to develop the proof of concept, and in maybe in a year or two, try to establish a network within where the need is, because we have not DOI at all in the public university system in Argentina. So, but we want to at the same time give maintain the conversation with Europe and in the global north. So it's not something like how to say uh, endogamic because the idea is to make a network as global and open as possible. But there is no point of competing with the US because we are not accessing to the OI already, and that's a problem. When speaking with Arcangelo, one of the head that holds back Latin America scientific production in regards to the discoverability of it.
Yeah. So, yeah, and thanks for for narrating the roadmap, the exact roadmap, because this is actually the proof of concept. It's planned to be, we will, of course, at least I don't know, but it's planned to be presented on the PID Fest next year.
Where it is, but it is PID Fest is that the one that was called Pidapalooza a few years ago?
No.
It's not that one.
No.
Okay.
It's PID Fest. Let me see.
Leiden,
In the Leiden, yes, in Leiden.
October 20 next year.
October next year. So in exactly 1 year. So
Well,
yeah,
that would be the perfect venue where to talk about this.
yeah. Because this, yeah, it could be as it is. It still didn't publish the deadline. Then we can. For now, it's a plan. Let's say.
I mean, that is very interesting. What I would like to ask you is just to keep us posted about what you are doing, because we are very interested. I mean, we are producing persistent identifier for our data, and we do approach everything with open science mindset and open as a default, let's say, behavior. So I think we would be very interested in be updated about what you do, and also if we can manage somehow also to adopt it according to also our needs, but it's something that in principle we are interested in to look at. So please keep us posted, keep us off posted about it.
Yeah, it's for now. For now, it's very inspiring because, and I would like to say you many thanks because now I really need a bit of inspiration. As actually, yeah, actually, I just because I have a lot of things at my current workplace. So, would you like me to add you in our mailing list?
I think so. Yes, why not?
Also, for notifying about the meetings we have every 2 weeks. Could you please write to the chat your emails, and I will add them immediately.
Yeah. So Arcangelo, can I ask, because I'm still with the cell phone right now. So if you can add your email if you are directly interested, but also tech@opencitations.net.
Okay.
Tech, or it's opencitations.net, right?
TECH
Yes.
at opencitations.net.
Okay. So, system. This is okay. It's for him. Okay. Tech at opencitations.net. Okay. So here it is. The invitation was sent to this address. Opening from the chat. Sending the
I got it, the one from Tech, I think. DPID
perfect.
working group. Yes, I've seen it.
Yes. And now it will be sent to Arcangelo. Done.
Yes, I got it.
Okay, and now I will drop the link to our agenda document, in which in the supplementary link there is a Mattermost instance we have. So I can just accept your request, and we will have a messenger in which, for example, the conference announcements are published.
Okay, got it. I'm using Mattermost actually for a bunch of European projects, so I do have it already.
Perfect. Yeah, it's quite a good application, despite they are changing now their business model, but anyhow, it's
As
capable.
usual.
Yeah,
As
yeah,
usual.
yeah.
No,
The
we are
magentification.
internally we are using right now Discord, which is the mechanism, a chatting system that works pretty well for what we need. But we were in Slack before, and then they changed everything, and we didn't want to pay there, so we moved to a Discord solution that works pretty well internally in Open Citations. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I,
yeah.
I recommend Signal as well.
Yeah, it
Signal.
works.
We tried Signal. I tried actually Signal a bunch of years, no more than bunch, 3-4 years ago. But I mean, the difference between Signal and Discord are, I mean, Discord is more well tied for, let's say, at least right now. I don't know Signal, but what is the new thing about Signal? But Discord works very well for meetings, for organizing voice
Yeah.
meetings, organizing
Yeah, Signal is
subgroups,
more like a messaging.
Exactly, it's more like
Uh,
messages. Instead, Discord
yes,
is more like Slack in the end. So it's not
yes.
just messaging, it's organizing work and doing these kind of things. Works very well, honestly. And we are using the free
Yes, but
version, but
the free version, right?
yeah, the free version we are using. Yeah.
About Signal, what I would say, like Russian, it's let's say in terms of organizing, it's good, but in terms of privacy, it's not good anymore.
Oh, really?
Signal, you mean? I see.
Yes, Signal, because actually it's snapped to the phone number.
Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah, then it somehow may reach the data that are transferred using GSM. Then
I see.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
not commercial commonly used messaging system is good in times of privacy anymore.
Uh, Sorry, guys, I really have to run.
Yeah,
So
me also.
yeah, also us all because we have only 4 minutes remaining of what time I have booked it for.
okay. So
Okay.
thank you a lot for this chat. Very interesting, I have to say. And hopefully to hear more news about it in the following months.
I I will try to do my best.
Okay, okay, I see. Okay, have a
Yeah.
nice evening all
Have a
day.
nice evening,
I
and
don't know,
yeah,
Sergio, where you stay right now, but you are in Argentina.
Myself, I'm in Argentina yet.
I see, I see. So it's morning right now in
Yeah,
your place.
noon time. I'm about to take lunch.
Okay. Okay. So have
yeah,
a
yeah.
good rest of the
So
day.
next meeting will be planned in exactly 2 weeks. So it will be on 21st of October
Okay, great.
Okay.
at, at the same
Have a nice
time.
day.
Thank
Have a nice
you.
day.
Thank
Bye
you,
bye.
Bye-bye.
Andrea.
Thanks
Thank you,
to you
Sergio.
also.
See you next time. Bye.
Bye.